All right. Good afternoon and happy Wednesday once again. Welcome back to another 411. What's the 411 session? Admissions info session here for this week. It is now April 10th, Wednesday. We're here to bring you guys another wonderful guest to bring you guys the latest and greatest information happening here at Bethune-Cookman. But more specifically today is our Director of Financial Aid, Mr. Kevin McCrary, will be our special guest today. We're excited, and we are back and better than ever for another great session to provide you some information as far as what's happening here at the great BCU. As your seniors, you guys are preparing for this fall semester of 2024, as you guys are arriving here to becoming Wildcat ready. So we're excited to bring you guys this some great information. This is the guy you guys have been waiting to see. He's got some great update to provide for you guys regarding the latest updates for FAFSA and questions you guys might be inquiring about. Hopefully, he'll be able to provide you guys with some clarity as far as what you guys need to be working on and as far as what you need to be looking forward to moving forward over the next 3 or 4 months. So I'll go ahead and start again with our official introduction. My name is Billy the Just. I serve as your Director of Recruitment and Outreach here at the Great Bethune-Cookman, and I'll tag my team here at the Office of Admissions to introduce themselves, and then we'll go jump right into our guest today, Mr. McCrary, as we move forward.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Sasha Holmes. I am your coordinator of tours and events here at the Great Bethune-Cookman University.
Good afternoon, everybody. Great to see you guys again. My name is Rodney Allman. I am the Florida Area Coordinator for Bethune-Cookman University.
And good afternoon and welcome, future Wildcats. My name is Kevin McCrary and I am your Financial Aid Director, here to try to assist you with all your financial needs.
All right, outstanding. Again, guys, just pull out your phones, your notepads, your tablets, take some notes. This guy is the know-it-all in this area. So you want to make sure you're listening to what he's saying. Make sure you're taking the notes so you guys can know how to follow up and what he's going to be looking forward to. Mr. McCrary, the stage is yours. Go ahead on with your presentation, sir.
Okay, well, good afternoon. Again, we want to make sure that everybody is ready and Wildcat ready when you come on campus, meaning you have all of your financial aid information together. You've done your FAFSA, and we're going to go through this presentation is going to teach you about the FAFSA, your FSA ID, how to create one, and making sure that you're Wildcat ready when it's time to come to Bethune-Cookman. Next slide. So how do you become Wildcat ready? Well, there's a couple of steps that we need to do. And one, we need to make sure that you filled out your FAFSA and created, and this is for you and your parent, created your FSA ID. What is the FSA ID? That's your information that you're going to use to sign your FAFSA electronically. You also are going to need to complete the 24-25 school year, meaning that starting in August, this is when this financial aid takes effect. So you're going to need to complete the 24-25. You can complete that at studentaid.gov. One of the biggest keys is you need to monitor your financial aid award notices, and they will be coming soon. So I'll let you know a little more about that information that's coming. And if you're selected for verification, and this, I know this may be a new word for some of you, but if you're selected for verification, what that means is they're just telling the financial aid office to verify your information you've submitted on the FAFSA. And you'll be able to see if you're been started for verification or if you need additional documentation on your Wildcat web. Okay. You'll go to your Wildcat web. You're going to go to Online Financial Aid. Click on Online Financial Aid, and then it'll tell you to have messages. Anything that's highlighted in blue, you'll click on the hyperlink, and the hyperlink will take you to the information that you need to fill out. Now, this is one of the key pieces that you all should be interested in, and that's scholarships. We have a scholarship platform. It's called Scholarship Universe, and this is in Wildcat Web also. And what you're going to do is, if you're interested in a scholarship, and I strongly recommend that you go in, fill this one application out that attaches you to certain scholarships you may be eligible for. So please, please, I recommend that you go in, fill out your information for Scholarship Universe. Also, another tip that I didn't list here, you're coming to a HBCU, Bethune-Cookman University, which is a partner for UNCF, and that's the United Negro College Fund. Please, if you have a time and you're going to go to uncf.org, you want to go and fill out your profile and select general scholarship application. That could be assistance for you while you're here at Bethune-Cookman to get additional scholarships. And believe me, we want to look at free money. This is about free money. We can't guarantee everybody free money, but at least this is an opportunity for you to get additional monies with the connection with Scholarship Universe and the UNCF application. Now, the last thing is, I know we're getting ready for 24-25, but as a financial aid administrator, I have to think ahead for 25-26. So for 25-26, remember, we're going to have to do this project all over again starting in October. So you'll be in the middle of your freshman semester getting ready for next year. So let's make sure we just keep that in mind. Next slide. So what is a FSA ID? The FSA ID is your password you're going to use for studentaid.gov so you can sign your documents electronically. This may be student loans, and this is for you and your parent. It may be your loan interest counseling. It's to fill out your FAFSA form. You may be eligible for other things like the TEACH grant, which is a federal grant. So you want to make sure that you take care of this. And we're going to go to how you're going to do that. Now, when will you use this? You're going to use it every year you apply for financial aid. And financial aid must be done every year. It's not done at the beginning, but it's done every year, and it opens in October. To receive federal student loans, you'll need this FSA ID for you and your parent. So if the student is receiving a loan in their name, then the student needs this. And if the parent is doing what they call a Parent Plus loan, they will need this. But this will be information, and this will help you with your login and your dashboard for studentaid.gov. So you'll have that information there. Next slide. Now, the question was, does your parent need to do it? Absolutely. And this is the same directions that we're giving you. They must fill it out. They must go to studentaid.gov to fill this information out. And you're going to, all you need to do, even if you are having troubles, just log in. Just go to the internet, put in FSA ID, and it'll bring it right up for you. So it's very important for your parents to have it. And for 24-25, if your parents are married, both parents have to have the FSA ID because both parents have to sign it. So if your parents are married or if they're living together, both of them have to sign it. Now, if you have a single parent, okay, then only that parent has to sign it, but they need this FSA ID. This is the beginning of everything. Next slide. Now, this is how you create it. Once you go to studentaid.gov and you're going to see the FSAid, this is where you start it. And when it says get started, you're just going to push that button. You'll need to know some critical information, such as social security number and your birth date. Those are going to be very, very important. Okay. You will be asked to, next slide, please. You'll be asked to create a username and a password. When you're creating this username and password, store it somewhere, save it, take a picture of it, store it somewhere because you're going to need this for the next 4 years for you and your parent. Okay. So when you create your FSA ID, make sure you create it, whatever your username is going to be, whatever your password. And this is only for you. You cannot create it for your parent. This is only for you. Next slide. This is how the page will look. It's going to ask you for your first name, last name. It's going to ask you for your username, your email, to confirm your email, and your password. Next slide. This is where you're going to have your profile information. That's going to give your name, address, your zip code. And I strongly suggest that you put a mobile phone there because you can access your FSA ID or sign in with your mobile phone. So if you want to create that, you can. I would strongly suggest it because that will help you with your process in case, quote unquote, that you forget it. But we know that you're going to take pictures of this and you're not going to forget your password and we're going to be all set, at least not your username. Next slide. Now, you're going to get communications. It's going to let you know your information. They're going to confirm your information. They can send you emails or text messages. I suggest you do both as you go because you want to be in real good connection with the Department of Education. Not only will Bethune-Cookman and the Financial Aid Office send you information, but the federal government will also send you information with things that may be that may affect your application. That information you may need to know in case you take out a student loan, information about your Pell Grant if you're eligible. So this is very, very important. So you want to use the text messages and the email. Next slide. Your challenge questions are pretty easy. You get to select how many you get to select the challenge questions you want. You're going to select 4. But, like I say, your favorite sport, you want to do something also that you're going to remember and also something that's related to you. Now, again, my suggestion is once you create these, you show the questions and the answers and take a picture in case you have to refer back to it. Then you store it in your important information. So when we get ready to do this in October, you're already set to go and you don't have to go back and reset your password, which takes a kind of a long time because now if you have to go back and reset it, that could take up to 24 to 48 hours and you want to get this done as quickly as possible. Next slide. It's going to give you a confirmation. All your information is correct. You've checked it. You're going to go over it. You're going to say, yes, this is all my information. They're going to confirm it and verify it. And when I say confirm it, you're going to confirm it, but they're going to verify it. And it goes through the Social Security Administration. They check your information, make sure you have your valid Social Security number. They check your birthday. They make sure you are who you say you are. Okay, next slide. Now, once you've completed this, you're going to enable the 2-step verification. And what that does is it's going to, when anybody tries to go into your account, once you sign in, it's going to send you a text message with a code or email with a code so you can get in. So they want to make sure that you are who you say you are, and it's for your protection. You don't want that. This is valuable information. Anytime you're dealing with your Social Security number, your birthday, where you live at, that's valuable information, and it needs to be protected. So this is why this is in place. Next slide. This is the authenticator application, and they're going to send this to you. Now, what this does is they're going to give you a code on this, and this code is going to come up. So if you ever lose your information, this code you will have, and you can submit this information also. But that's going to be the last part of it. Next slide. This is the end of the application. Like I said, you're going to enter that code. It's going to verify you, and you're complete with your FSA ID. Now, that's part 1. I know that's a lot, but that's part 1, and that's where we start. Next slide. You'll get your congratulations. Your account has been completed. Everything should go through. Now, remember, Again, this is for your parent and yourself. So if you haven't started your FAFSA, this is where you need to start. Okay, this is where you need to get your information. Now you see things under here. This is for you can't renew this. You can't use this for a existing FAFSA form that you have on file. So if you did this for 23-24, this is not. This is for 24-25. You'll see things like the income-driven repayment request. This won't be for my new freshmen. These will be for people that are already in school and have graduated, and now they're looking for a repayment plan. But this just gives you a lot of information. So even the parents, if you need this information, this will help you out. If you're in repayment or you're trying to consolidate your loans, this is information for you also. Next slide. Now, let's say your parent doesn't have an SSN and unable to verify your information. This year, all they have to do is submit the application and it'll say no SSN, and you can still submit the information to receive a FSA ID, but you just have to indicate that they don't have a Social Security number. Next slide. Now, here's the fun part. Here's where we begin. This starts your FAFSA application. Now, if you haven't ever done a FAFSA application, this video with the FAFSA overview, it's only about 5 minutes. You can go in and play it, and it will give you instructions for your 24-25. Please go ahead, look at the video first, and then then start your application. Next slide. Now, this is for students that are dependent. And what does it mean by dependent? That means that you're under the age of 24. You don't have legal dependents that you support more than 50%. You're not married. You are not a ward of the court, meaning both parents are deceased. You're not a veteran of the U.S. Armed Forces, okay? So that means if you can't answer any of those questions, you are considered as a dependent student and your parent information is required, okay? Next slide. Now, you'll see this information. This is what you're going to expect. This is the information that you're going to see when you start your FAFSA, and this is going to go into your application. Next slide. Go back one. Now, this information, this is the last information that you'll see once you've completed the application. You submitted the form. It's going to tell you that your form is complete. Now, once you completed the form, it takes between 3 and 5 days for the Department of Education to process your FAFSA application. And once they process it, then they'll send you information. You're going to receive information that's called a Student Aid Index. The Student Aid Index is your eligibility for a Pell Grant. It will also give you information about eligibility for a student loan. Now, this is the information that we use to start your financial aid package. Okay, and that's once we get your financial aid package, you will be getting your award letter. Next slide. Now, our 24-25 award letter or packaging will begin on April the 15th, which will be next week, starting next Monday. So if you have completed your FAFSA, we will start the awarding process. And we are looking to have your awards out to you and award letters out by May 1st. If you have any questions, please contact us at financialaid@cookman.edu. So if you don't receive that award letter or an award notification by May 1st and you have a completed FAFSA, contact us. Now, the one thing I do want to reiterate is if you've done your FAFSA and they're asking for a correction, You cannot make corrections on that FAFSA until the corrections website is open at the Department of Ed. Now, that should be open sometime this month. They haven't given us an exact date, but I'm going to say probably May 1st, those corrections, the site will open so students can make corrections. So if you got a FAFSA form and it says that you need corrections, you cannot make those until probably May 1st. Next slide. This is basically all the information I have for you. I will take any questions you may have. If you want to ask me any questions, do we have any questions in the question and answer that I can address right now?
Yes, sir, Mr. McCrary. This is awesome. Very detailed information, guys. Make sure you guys are taking these copious notes and make sure you're getting the information to share not only with your parents, but also with your friends, right? So share this link with your friends, anyone who might be inquiring about the FAFSA information. You have one of the experts here giving you some detailed information about what the process looks like from step A to step Z to make sure this process is seamless for you, to making sure you're getting all the information you need. Now, one thing I want to make sure remind you guys, make sure you add Bethune-Cookman to your list of FAFSA. I think Mr. McCrary want to touch up on that. Yes, you may have done the FAFSA, but if you have not added Bethune-Cookman, do they have to wait until May 1st as well, Mr. McCrary, to add BCU to the list of schools?
Yes, they do. And if you're adding BCU, our school code is 001467. 001467. Make sure you add us, because you may have, like Mr. D just said, you may have completed your FAFSA, but if you did not include us on your FAFSA, then we won't receive the information. So that's very important that we're included on your FAFSA.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much for that. That's critical, guys. Make sure if you did the FAFSA in the fall, for example, or if you started early and you met one of us on the road and say, oh, wow, now Bethune-Cookman is in consideration, you now have to add us to your list in order for Mr. McCrary and his team to make sure they complete that award package for you, to make sure you have access on the Wildcat web to view that as you guys move forward with your awards, which also will include any academic scholarships. So make note of that as you guys are getting that information to move forward. Now, Mr. McCrary, now you mentioned something. You touched on the different types of scholarships available. You touched on the different type of aid that will come through the FAFSA with the Pell Grants and loans, etc. Now, this FSAID, now, how critical is that, and what do you recommend for any student? Let's say as of today, they may have that FSAID information. However, they're not able to or make any adjustments as of yet. Any recommendations for any family who may have the FSAID report, but they have not received an award letter or an estimate of what that looks like for the fall of 2024?
So I'm going to go back and I'm going to so what they're looking for is they're looking for their SAI. That's their eligibility. Now the FSAID is only for them to sign electronically.
Electronically,
okay.
Gotcha. Yes,
okay. And if they need to make a correction, that's how they'll get back into their application. So what they're looking for a completed FAFSA with the Student Aid Index, which means SAI, and that should have a 4 to 10-digit number behind it. Now, some of you may receive an SAI that says a negative 1,500. What that means is you're going to be eligible for the max amount of eligible aid as far as a Pell Grant. And that also means the maximum amount of a Pell Grant is $73.95 for the year. Okay, so if you get a negative, that's a good thing. It's negative, but it just means that you will be receiving the maximum amount of a Pell Grant, which will be $73.95.
All right, that's awesome news, Mr. McCrary. Based on my recollection, I believe that number was somewhat lower over the last few years there. Did that number go up? It seemed like that number has increased there this year.
Well, what it has done, it has increased eligibility, because then before, with the new formula, it's given us a negative FSAID, meaning that they have they're going to still get the max, but now you have 0 to negative 1,500, which makes all of those folks eligible. So with the new FAFSA, and even though we're having some bumps in the road, it's going to make more people eligible for a Pell Grant than before. So that's going to be, it's critical that you don't think that you're not eligible, because they have something that's called a minimal Pell. So you may look like, oh, I'm not eligible for anything, but you get a small Pell. Well, any free dollars is good dollars.
Absolutely. That's great news, guys. So make note of that that SAI information, that student that index piece. That is critical. You have that information. Please forward that to financialaid@cookman.edu to Mr. McCrary and his team, so they can make sure they provide you with some updates as far as what they have available for you for your award. So make note of that, parents and students. If you have that information already in hand, please submit that to our team so they can do their magic for you and follow up with you with that award information. Now, we've noticed the big delay this year has been happening throughout the nation as far as this delay for FAFSA. Could you provide some detail as to what caused it, what folks should be looking forward to moving forward? Is this delay a one-time thing for this year of 24-25, or should they expect a similar delay going into next year, or are we going back to the regular date of October 1st for completing the FAFSA?
So to answer your question, we did have some delays with the rollout of the new FAFSA. So with any new process, there are some bumps in the road, and the Department of Education has worked diligently to get these bumps corrected. I think we're on a pretty smooth pattern right now. They have said the processing time is back to 3 to 5 days for processing a FAFSA application, but there were some bumps in the road. Now, will this happen in 25-26? I am going to pray that it doesn't happen, but I can't dictate that it will or will not. So we're gonna have faith that it's not gonna be a hindrance, and the application will open October 1st for 2025-26. So that's just some of the information that we have. As you can see, and on the news outlets, if you go to the FAFSA application, you'll see the information that's out there. If you pay attention to the FAFSA website, they have additional information out there. So if you have any questions, you can feel free to contact us here at the Financial Aid Office. You can give us a call at 386-481-2620. That's 386-481-2620. Or you can email us at financialaid@cookman.edu.
Outstanding information, guys. Make sure you guys, again, taking notes and making sure you're sharing these great details with your family, especially with your parents. If they're at work currently, make sure you're sharing this link with them as well, so they can be in the know with what they need to do and follow up with to provide that information. Now, one question I always get from my Floridians here in Florida, and parents overall, what are some critical documents that is necessary if I'm in the state of Florida, that Florida resident access grant that they are eligible for? Are there any necessary documents that parents need to submit in order to qualify or be eligible for those grants that are for the Floridians who are here in Florida?
So I'm glad you bring that up, and that's a very good point. Floridians, if you're going to a HBCU, okay, and let me say a private HBCU in the state of Florida, there are two grants that are not based on FAFSA that you're eligible for. And that is the EASE grant. And that's the EASE grant is the Florida grant that's non-need based that you will receive $3,500 for. Okay. And what needs to happen is, if you're a dependent student and you're using your parent information, your parents need to submit their Florida driver's license that states they've been in the state for at least 1 year before you start school, and a voter's registration card or car registration showing their Florida residency. That'll be important that we get those documents, because even though we may award it to you, we can't pay it to you until those documents are received. In addition to, we will send you an application out that's called the EASE application that you would fill in, put in your parents' information, and upload the information to your Wildcat Web so we can get the information for you. So that is critical. Now, there is an additional grant for students that is based on the FAFSA, which is called the Florida Student Assistance Grant. The Florida Student Assistance Grant is an additional $2,200 that you could be eligible for if you meet the requirements of receiving a Pell for next year. Now, what we don't know is where the cutoff is, but I can tell you, if you're one of those folks that get that negative SAI, you will be receiving those funds. And that's like I said, that's an additional $2,200. Now, of course, with any time you get free money, there's always a caveat. So the caveat is you must complete, let me say this again, you must complete 24 credit hours per academic year to receive it the next year. So that means that our saying here is 15 and 8 graduate. So that means if you take 15 credits per semester, you will graduate in 4 years and you complete those credits every semester. Now, what that also means is you need to complete at least 12 credits you register for. And when I say complete, that means with a C or better. You have to complete with a C or better to create these or renew these funds. Now, if you look at it, and parents, I'm going to put this in your boat for a minute. That is $5,700 of free money that you need to make sure your student is still receiving every year, because that's going to help. If you don't complete this next year, you won't be eligible, and that could be $5,700 of lost financial aid. So we all know we're going to come here, and our objective is to come here. We're going to complete our courses. We're going to graduate. But we do also know there's some bumps in the road. So make sure that you're taking advantage of that and you understand the eligibility and the requirement for the grants that you're receiving.
That is awesome. Now, that is critical, guys. One of the key things that Mr. McCrary mentioned was you must complete 12 credit hours. In other words, our academic advising team, along with our success coaches, are going to recommend, based on your first semester, first year on campus, that you do have at least those 15 to 17 credit hours on your schedule. What that means, in the event that you happen to fall short in one course where you did not complete that C or better, at the end of that semester, you would have still have completed the minimum of 12 credit hours. Now, if you drop one of those courses and you only taken 12 credit hours and you do not succeed and you fall short on one of those 12 credit hours, what happens with that in that situation, Mr. McCrary? Do they lose those funds? Because as he mentioned, they may be available for you on the front end. That happens quite often. And at the end of the semester, families are saying, hey, what happened to those dollars we had prior to arriving or in the beginning of the semester?
So what happens there is they'll have their eligibility for 1 year. So it will cover you for fall and spring. But at the end of the spring semester, you must have completed 24 credits, and summers do not count. Okay? So you need to make sure that you've done that. You need to make sure that you're keeping your grades up, because even though you're getting assistance, this assistance comes with a caveat. You got to be going towards completion of your degree. So let's just make sure we keep that in mind.
Yes, Mr. McCrary. Now that FSAG, that 2200, that would be a grant that is available for all students, not just Floridians. That is available for all students nationwide. Is that correct?
No, that's only for Florida students. That's why it's
Mm,
called a Florida Student Assistance Grant. So
gotcha.
it's not for for the Florida aid, you must be a Florida resident, and your parents must be a Florida resident. So our out-of-state students, unfortunately, we would love to, but it only goes to students that live here in the state of Florida.
So if I'm an out-of-state student, am I only eligible for the Pell Grant from the on the Pell side, or are there any additional grants that I may want to take a look at or be considered for outside of the E's and the FSAG?
Unfortunately, no. Now, there's federal grants that you could be eligible for. For instance, there's a grant that's called the Supplemental Educational Opportunity Grant. Now, you may get that in your award letter, which will be good based on your SAI, but that would be the only one that we have. Now, for our out-of-state students, you may be looking for scholarships. Well, scholarships are across the board. It don't matter what state you live in. Okay, those are across the board. And another thing, you could be a student that's coming to Bethune, but we're looking for students that live in Michigan to get that scholarship. So don't count yourself out. But our scholarships are in a variety of criteria. So you could be a freshman that's 18 that lives in Michigan that wants to go in business. Well, that could be a scholarship for you. So let's just keep that in mind.
No, that's good to know. That's very good information. Now, for example, Bethune-Cookman is the total cost per year, guys. The indirect cost is $25,190. So if you are a full Pell student who's eligible from out of state, and you are receiving the 73.95, I love doing the math on this. It would leave you a balance of $17,795 prior to any academic or merit scholarship that you're going to receive from our team here as well. So as you're doing the math, parents, you want to make sure you make a note of that. There is no out-of-state tuition. That is a great benefit you guys have as well. Coming from out of state, we are a proud institution. Therefore, there's no out-of-state cost for out-of-state tuition for those of you coming from out of state, outside of the state of Florida. So, but if you are in Florida, from everything Mr. McCrary mentioned, and if you do get the full Pell, you do get the E's, you qualify for that FSAG, that number can add up to $13,095 if you are eligible for all three of those grants, which would be more than half of the cost that you're looking to cover for the entire year. That's prior to the academic scholarship. One thing we've done here in our office of admissions, one of the things you're guys going to receive when you receive that aid package from Mr. McCrary, it would also include any academic merit scholarship that you're going to be eligible for based on your grade point average. So something we've made a bit more efficient, it's been more efficient for our students, where they now no longer have to apply for that academic scholarship. It's something we've done as a nice courtesy to our students. They've worked hard these last 2 years to make sure they're achieving a great GPA before they arrive here. So as a recruitment team, as we are doing the review of your transcript for acceptance, we automatically complete that review for your academic scholarship consideration, thereby receiving that award letter, which will include your merit-based scholarship, of course, based on the GPA profile. So no need to stress that. But as Mr. McCurry mentioned, as you guys get acclimated, when you pay your enrollment deposit, you will now have access to our scholarship portal, that's Scholarship Universe portal, which will give you guys access to apply for those external dollars. As you guys heard a few weeks ago from Ms. Jewel Harper about what that looks like to add to your total package to make sure you're closing the gap on that $25,000 per year. So very critical. You guys are taking those copious notes to make sure you guys are following these steps to make sure you're getting everything in a timely fashion. As Mr. McCurry mentioned, May 1st is a big day. That is our national decision day nationwide. So you should look forward to getting that information by that date. But more importantly, Bethune-Cookman we have a rolling admission option for you. So we are going to work with you beyond May 1st. where many schools will close their doors after May 1st. You can no longer enroll. We will still be able to assist those who still need assistance. It doesn't mean you need to procrastinate and wait, but certainly we'll do our best to assist you from May 1st all the way through July 1st to make sure you guys over the summer, you can still finalize some steps and still get some things done as you move forward. Now, Mr. McCrary, if I am a student, I'm considering enrolling or taking some summer classes. Are there any recommendations or tips or things I should be doing as well to get some additional grants if I'm going to be attending summer school as an incoming freshman?
So if you're an incoming freshman and you may want to take some classes for summer, you need to also complete the FAFSA for 23-24. Okay, so if you're going to consider taking some summer classes, getting a jump on things, that's fine. But if you're looking for grants, your grant eligibility for summer, you have to complete the 23-24 FAFSA application, and that is still open, and that will close on June 30th, 2024. The application will close on June 30th, 2024. So if you're considering summer, I advise you to go and do that application as well as the 24-25.
All right. So that means you guys got to complete both, guys. The 23-24 if you're coming in for summer, especially for my athletes out there. But more importantly, you must also complete the 24-25. So you guys will have both awards because you do have grants available for summer as a senior. It's very critical you guys understand that piece because you don't want to let those funds go to waste. So if you're coming in and taking some summer courses, even if you're taking them at home, possibly, if I'm not mistaken, Mr. McCrary, if I'm taking those courses at home at a community college, I should still complete that 23-24 to take advantage of those summer grants that I am eligible for. Is that correct?
That's absolutely correct, Mr. Jess.
All right, that's awesome, guys. Take advantage of those opportunities, guys. Don't leave anything on the table. Maximize those opportunities so you do not have to come out of pocket if you don't have to. So please complete the application early. Get on the ball. These updates are now available for you. If you're still having trouble, as Mr. McCrary mentioned, please continue to check week to week. But by May 1st, you guys should have your award letter. Some of you guys have already told me you've received your award package already. You'd have gotten a nice admit packet from us with the 1904, with the nice Wildcat head. You guys have some nice pieces going out to you with your automated merit award from the Office of Admissions Financial Aid. So you guys will know exactly the scholarship amount that you are eligible for. So if you have not gotten that, look out. It should be coming out to you any minute now, any day, as we're getting out the second batch of those that are coming out for this second group here in the spring semester. Now, Mr. McCrary, I've heard about those great grants and opportunities about completing it. Now I'm a student. I'm coming up short. Are there any opportunities? I've noticed a question on there about work study and work aid. Is there anything you want to share with these families about the work study and work aid options? Any tips or recommendation you want to share with them about that?
Yes, and I'm glad you bring that point up. We do have eligibility for students that are interested in work study based on your student aid index. Again, this is going back to that filling out that FAFSA and we're getting your information. Now, the way work study works is it's just like applying for a part-time job. If the supervisor wants to hire you, you'll be employed. I think our average amount of employment by hour is about $13 per hour. And you can use those funds with your paycheck and apply to your outstanding bill. Now, we have to pay you. That means we have to give you your paycheck. And then if you want to apply it to your bill, you can. We can't automatically send it to your bill. So, yes, there are opportunities. And I'm glad you brought up the work aid versus work study. Work study is based on your FAFSA. Work aid is internal jobs that the institution has that are very, very limited to departments, but that's the difference between the two.
So in other words, not every student will be work study eligible, if I'm hearing you correctly.
Correct.
So it's not a guaranteed thing, guys. So it is based on your eligibility from your FAFSA application. You may be looking to complete a work study assignment. However, it's going to be based on your eligibility. We Bethune-Cookman, we do not determine who's eligible. Of course, the federal government determines that based on your FAFSA application, if you're eligible to complete a work study assignment at any university, not just Bethune-Cookman, but that is a federal regulation there as well. So make sure you guys are understanding how that works. If you're not eligible for a work study, your job is to get on campus, have those communications, reach out to folks to find out who may have a work aid assignment that you may be able to take advantage of.
Mhm.
All right, so good deal. Are there any eligibility requirements or students maybe need to know of in order to renew the aid? Is there a GPA requirement that you would recommend that students need to maintain at the very least to make sure they're not in trouble of losing any aid for the following year?
So we have a process that's called standards of academic progress. Okay. And that's a policy that states that every student, well, let me see, let me take that back, that students receiving federal aid and institutional aid must complete 67% of all classes taken and maintain a 2.0 GPA. Now, that's for federal aid. For students that are receiving merit awards, you need to have at least a 2.5 GPA to get your merit award for the following year. So it's all about business. You have to come, you have to apply for aid, and you want to maintain your eligibility for aid. So it's important that you guys get in here, you complete your classes. My recommendation for you is I want to get a 3.0 off the bat. That's what I do. Well, that's my recommendation. But I know sometimes, college can be a little rough. So you want to get in here and you want to make sure you make the best of your opportunity by getting that at least 2.5 so you're in a good space.
No, but you're very kind, Mr. McCrary. For me personally, our incoming freshmen, we are pushing the envelope. We want to push it higher. We want you to target a 3.5 or higher as a new freshman, right? Because that first semester and first year, guys, is truly your easiest schedule you're probably going to have prior to getting into your core classes for your major. So as an incoming freshman, you would have heard this from our team. We want you to achieve at least a 3.5 or higher your first year here on campus. What that does, it allows you to have a great profile whereby you can apply now for those upperclassmen type of scholarship based on your major. Oftentimes, your deans may have scholarships that are available for you as a student in their program, but you must have a college GPA, of course, have a great profile to start off with as a freshman to be able to apply for additional scholarships for year 2, 3, and 4 for awards you may not have received as a first-time freshman. So if you're a first-time freshman coming in here, you get a fresh start. If you had a rough start at 2.9, 2.8, you got in. Oh, we got in. Thank you, Mr. Allman, for getting me in. Thank you, Miss Ashley, for getting me in. We want now you guys got to put your best foot forward and making sure you're taking advantage. We offer tutoring sessions for you. We have advising sessions to make sure you guys are getting off to a great start, to make sure you're achieving your best possible work as a first-time freshman. These courses will get more challenging year 3 and 4. So you're going to make sure you have a great profile, you have a great GPA to start off with, whereas if you struggle a bit your second or third year, you can still maintain that 3.0 or higher, which would make you more, of course, have a great, nice, more attractive profile if you're considering going to grad school, but of course, more importantly, qualify for additional scholarships throughout your journey here at BCU. So as a first-time freshman, 3.5 is the goal. Complete 15 credit hours per semester. 15 times 8 equals graduate. That is something you'll hear quite a bit from our academic advisement team to make sure you're staying in par with the schedule. You following the playbook to make sure you have a smooth transition without any stresses. If you follow these directions, guys, it'll be a pretty seamless process for you and your family. So I think that's mostly you covered pretty much everything we're looking for here, Mr. McCrary. Finally, last questions. Is there anything you want to share as far as a support system? Is there anything that BCU offers for students and families to help manage those finances as far as an educational piece that you should recommend or you recommend for them as they're coming in as a new freshman?
Well, it's always financial literacy is a very, very big part of of your transition to college. That means budgeting, knowing where your money's is, how much is it going to cost you, how much your parents need to pay. So budgeting is very important, and we will be offering some assistance with budgeting, and then we will have some webinars, and there's some YouTube videos on budgeting and how you want to proceed with your financial aid. And if you get enough financial aid that you may receive a quote unquote refund, what do you do with that? How do you progress with that? Do I go to the mall with that money, or do I save it because I may need something else to be done? I may want to take a summer class. So you want to make sure that you're using your financial aid wisely. One tip I will give you, even though you may be eligible, a lot of you guys will see student loans in your package. It doesn't necessarily mean you need to take them, but only borrow what you need. Don't borrow anything in excess that's going to create that you have a large loan debt at the end of your education. So borrow smartly. Borrow smartly. That's for you and your parents. The other thing I want to suggest is I want you guys to always be ahead of the game. Being ahead of the game, applying early, putting in for scholarships, looking to see how you're going to fund this. It's not just in your freshman year. Remember, you got to do this for 4 years. So planning ahead, applying on time, taking care of your business in the classroom keeps you ahead of the ballgame.
That is outstanding. Again, a round of applause for Mr. McCrary. This has been some great information. We're getting some a great detail. I'm taking notes myself, so I'm able to share this information with friends and families all throughout that we're meeting with over the next few weeks to make sure these guys are getting the information they need to make sure they're getting Wildcat ready for the summer. Time is running. We know you guys have prom coming up here the next 2 to 4 weeks, so making sure you guys are taking care of business so you can enjoy your prom at peace. You've gotten your awards before graduation, so you can go into graduation at peace, knowing that you've done your part to make sure you have a smooth summer with you and your family. So again, we want to thank Mr. McCrary for taking the time today to share his expertise with us about what those next steps as students and families are preparing to complete the FAFSA application, what they should be working on, and so on and so forth. So thank you for your time, Mr. McCrary. We look forward to getting some things done with you as we move forward for the rest of the semester. So now, before we close out, guys, I want to make sure you guys hear the next events, great events happening here on our campus, along with where we're going to be next. We'll tag Mr. Allman in here to share with you guys where, if he has any future recruitment plans. So if you guys want to meet him on the road, you guys know where he's going to be. So if you have any questions, you guys can meet with Mr. Allman. Of course, Mr. Sasha Holmes here will close us out with our admitted student day events, which you guys should be working on here. We're excited to greet you guys on campus. Mr. Allman?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Just, for that. It is a little bit of a quiet week here, but I will be on the road again Saturday. I'm going down to South Florida, Fort Lauderdale. I will be at Boyd Anderson High School. Yes, sir, Mr. McCrary. I see that's his home, his territory. And I will be down in Broward County. So if any students down in South Florida, if you know you're in the area near Boyd Anderson High School, I will be at the Delta Sigma Theta Career Fair. So if you are interested in going, if you're interested in contacting me, please feel free to reach out and we will make arrangements for you.
All right. So again, Mr. Allman, Mr. Allman's email will be posted on this chat for you guys. So lock it in. If you are in the state of Florida, guys, reach out to Mr. Allman if you have any questions. He's your guide throughout the process. Make sure you take advantage. He's very apt to receiving that information and following up with you very quickly. So please use that service that we're providing for you as well. So Ms. Holmes, any good news for us?
Yes, Admitted Student Day is just around the corner in about 2 more weeks. We've had to open up slots for this event probably about 2 or 3 times already. So we just added about 100 more slots last night, which we have about 60 left. So if you and your family are planning to come and you've booked tickets, transportation, all of that good stuff to come, we need you to register. So go ahead and take care of that as soon as possible. We have a fun day of events planned for you. You'll be hearing from our university president. You'll be hearing from voices like Mr. McCrary and the financial aid team. And if you guys have any questions or concerns regarding your financial aid, student accounts, housing, we will have those key players there for you to answer any questions that you have. And you guys can set personalized appointments on that day in order to speak to those individuals. On top of that, we also have university celebrities, as I like to call them, that will come forth on the program to speak to you guys about campus life, about Greek life, what it's like to be a student here at the Great Bethune-Cookman University. And we do have a dynamic speaker on this schedule to deliver our university message to you guys. So during that day, you'll also be able to take a university tour if you have not done so already. And you can also take a peek at an actual dorm room. So a lot of times you guys come on tours and you ask housing questions. Mr. Freeman, who is our director of housing, will be available that day to make sure that you guys get a peek into what an actual dorm room and what dorm life looks like. So we are excited to have you. Again, we only have about 60 slots open, so make sure you register. In addition to that, a lot of you guys have been emailing us in regards to our summer tour schedule, and that is up on our website. So if you guys go to visit.cookman.edu, you can now schedule your summer tours. If you guys have any questions beyond that, you can email us at campustours@cookman.edu. And that's all.
All right, that's outstanding, guys. Listen, we're now over 1,000 guests registered already. So we want to make sure now we are ready to host you guys. As Miss Sasha mentioned, we had to open up some more slots because they keep filling up. So 60 more slots. We cannot open it beyond that number after that because we've reached capacity for what we have planned for you here on campus. So we can't wait to see you on Saturday, April 27th for our admitted student day. Bring your sandals and your shorts. It's going to be a nice warm day in Daytona Beach, Florida. If you're coming from out of state, we just left Chicago here last week for recruitment. It was 30 degrees, guys. Even in April, still 30 degrees. That is unbelievable. So if you're in the Midwest and the Northeast, you're coming down, bring your bathing suits, enjoy the sunshine here in Daytona. And also at the end of our event, there's a seafood festival happening here in Volusia County for the city of Daytona. So once you leave us, you get a chance to enjoy the seafood festival happening right down the street on our campus, just 2 miles away from where we are. You guys will get a chance to get a taste of that and enjoy the environment here in Daytona Beach for you as a family if you've never been here before. So we look forward to greeting you guys here for that session. Please stay connected with all things social media, with Facebook, Instagram, etc. as we prepare to get you guys ready for Admitted Student Day. You can come on this event and leave out totally clear. So in other words, you can get your awards finalized, hopefully, and have an idea of how much funding you have available. And now what is left over? How do I complete the final pieces? And that you guys will get to hear that on the future guests, which will give you guys some tips and recommendations on how to close the deal to make sure you get everything done prior to July 1st. That is our goal. We want to get 80% of our class totally completed with the process by July 1st so you can enjoy the rest of your summer at peace. So you could come in here and have a smooth check-in process. It takes 5 to 7 minutes. Check in and you in your room at no time and get off to a great start and get that 3.5 we talked about with no stress whatsoever. So again, thank you again for taking the time on your busy Wednesday afternoon to hear us, give you guys some information. We'll be back next week for another guest. Special guests will be here with us. We won't give it up right away, but stay connected with social media. We'll post some flyers and update about that special guest for next week as we guys transition to the next steps for BCU. So again, thank you again for joining us, Mr. McCrary. Thank you again for taking the time to share your expertise with us. It was very informative, and we really appreciate it. Thank you again. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and Hell Wildcats.
Wildcats.
Yeah, Wildcats.